2025 Mathews launch, and I wondered how long it was going to take for somebody to make something that worked like Bowtech's system and actually implement it onto something.
Ooh, okay. That's a big. You just like let the cat out of the bag.
Drop the panties like that.
Right off the bat.
Yeah, but I'm just gonna get close on your hands. There we go.
Very good to roll.
Yeah, I'm good. Don't forget your tea.
Get my tea.
I've got my. What am I drinking here?
Sagamore Rye Whiskey.
Sagamore Rye Whiskey and a Powerade Zero Sugar Strawberry Smash. Smash.
She said smash.
I haven't heard that in so long.
That was a pretty good execution right there.
I think I was 18 or 19 when that came out, and my cousin went, "Have you seen Beavis and Butthead?" I'm like, "What the hell is Beavis and Butthead?" He's
So
like,
funny.
"Oh my God, it's on
good.
MTV. You have to watch it."
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
my mom
wouldn't
wouldn't let me watch it.
Yeah,
Yeah, she just thought it was too offensive.
that's
and
right. We should talk
bad.
about your history of being an uptight little pussy.
I wasn't uptight. I was raised appropriately, like
Raised
a child should
appropriately.
be raised in a very conservative Christian family.
like an upper scale boy would be raised. That's about right.
And
Hey, we
would
didn't
go-
clink.
Oh, we didn't.
Yeah, my boy Brandon isn't feeling super well here, so he's got some tea, but he fed me some Sagamore rye whiskey. Sagamore.
Let's see. Is it Sagamore? Can you read it?
You're the educated one, and I can't see. shit.
Sagamore Spirit Rye.
Sagamore Spirit Rye.
And Josh was like, "I'll try not to make a face when my vagina hurts." Drinking straight bourbon.
That was Scotch, not bourbon.
Yeah, you didn't like the Scotch.
It had such a. I've had Scotch one time in my life, and it was cheap, and I was way younger.
It probably didn't hit as hard as what I gave you. That's the thing. Like,
No.
yeah, the J&B up there is what my grandma would drink.
Mm-hmm.
So every day at like 10 a.m., she'd pour 4 fingers of J&B and just
10 a.m., huh?
I'm not joking. That was her jam.
Grandma just
Dude,
like
she
to
was
drop
the
her
most
lips on the floor, huh?
high-functioning alcoholic I've ever seen. She was amazing.
I had one of those. I had a little old grandma that seemed to be a high functioning alcoholic and a hiding alcoholic too.
She'd
yeah.
like go nip in the pantry.
She'd be hiding.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
But I'm not. Yeah, I'm not feeling like super awesome tonight. So I've got tea. It's a mint tea with some honey in it that my wife made me.
Lovely.
Because normally, what I really wanted to do was smoke a cigar for this. Because
Yeah, we were going to go in the horse area, right?
yeah, we were going to go down to the barn and shoot in the aisle because it's epic.
Yeah, we'll have to come back for that one.
We will. So what are we talking about today?
Well, seems appropriate to talk about the 2025 Mathews launch.
Dun dun dun. Wait, no, you got dun 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 dun. Yeah, a little Beavis action.
Yeah, I can't hit the high one anymore. Beavis is too tough. Yeah, the 2025 Mathews launch, and I wondered how long it was going to take for somebody to make something that worked like Bowtech's system and actually implement it onto something.
Ooh, okay. That's a big. You just like let the cat out of the bag.
Drop the panties like that. Just
right off the
boom!
bat. All right, I want you to give it to me slow.
Do you want to delete that and start over? Did I
No,
get to it?
No.
Yeah.
Because now all of a sudden everybody's hooked.
Okay,
They're locked in.
use small words.
No, I want you to start slow. I want you to give me everything that is the same as last year. Slow.
Okay.
I want riser lengths. I want axle to axle. I want all that, all the action, and then I want you to get to and then I want you to drop.
So
the
some of
panties.
them I don't actually know the exact specs on.
Okay.
So you have to
All right.
bear with me right
Okay,
there.
that's fine.
'cause
And I'll
technically,
overlay
as
this
we-
with the info on the website.
Yeah, it'll all link up. But so the Lift 29.5 and Lift 33 are simply called the Lift 29.5 and Lift 33X. They are the exact same bow. The riser's the same, limb's the same, limb pocket's the same. Well, no, I think they made one small change to the limb, if I remember right. But
To the limb or
to
the
limb
Okay.
itself? Just one small change to the limb. But and I could be wrong on that. I thought that was the case, but the risers, everything are identical from last year's bow. The only change is a Allen wrench adjustable tuning system.
Ooh, so
So wheeling adjustability with an Allen wrench.
Okay, so not exclusively being able to tune the bow with just the top hats. What you're telling me.
There are no longer top hats.
Oh my gosh.
They're gone. Which is why they weren't trying to make what I made.
Oh, because you started manufacturing.
In no right way would there was a couple of people that addressed how much it was moving with one set of top hats on one cam as an issue. And I reached out early, and I know a couple other shops did too, expressing a concern of it. And the conclusion was, well, we think you can get the bow to tune without it, so we're not going to do it. And at that moment, my brain went, you've got a tuning system next year.
You've got a tuning system because you guys aren't going to put time into manufacturing like thousandths of an inch top hats.
So a top hat moves 20 thou at a time, right? Okay. All you would need is a 10 thou one. Like it's all you just need to cut the movement in half. And like elite spacers, you can get them in 10 thous, not 20s. I think Hoyts are coarser than that if I remember right. But that's all you needed to do is move it 10 thou instead of 20 thou. So I asked, I was like, well, if you're not going to make it, can I make it? Are you going to sue me? And I got a call back 2 days later. It's like, no, go ahead. You're fine.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
But obviously what they have created now. So will the top hats completely go away? Like will the axle?
So it's different than Bowtech's system. It adjusts by an Allen wrench, but what it's actually doing is moving the limb farther away on the right side, and the left side doesn't change. So the cam is basically fixed to the left limb. It's still got an axle through it, and it's still got what looks like a top hat in there.
Okay, the cam is fixed to the left limb, so that the space between whatever the spacer and the cam will not change, but it's based off the left limb. Okay.
Yeah, so everything stays stationary to the left limb, and all it's doing, which it does work, I've played with it, is when you turn the screw, it's driving the limb away from the cam or towards the cam, the right limb. And this is on a right-handed bow, by the way. So it actually increases or decreases the gap between the limb and the cam.
Okay, so is the axle just floating then? Like obviously it's fixed to something,
No,
but
the
like
axle's not floating. It's driving the cam. So there's thread assembly in the
okay, I see what you're saying.
the attachment system in the limb.
Okay.
And so as you turn it, it's threading the limb away or toward.
Okay. I see.
And there's a screw that sits over the top of it, and you back the screw out, and then there's another screw underneath that you move.
It's
very simple.
Is it on the top cam and the bottom cam? Okay, so that's amazing because you'll be able to get like.
It works. It is precise, just like the Bowtech deadlock system is.
Wow.
Now, I don't want to imply it's the same thing because it's not, because they clearly got around the patent relatively easily. And once again, it's another one of those where, like that. That's another like, surprised it took that long.
Right.
To get around it, because that's a very easy way to get around it, and it all happens at the cam, not somewhere else.
Okay.
So when you adjust it at the cam, everything else stays relatively static. It just pitches. So your string, I think it's a more accurate way to do it personally.
Oh, that's awesome.
Rather than like adjusting at the limb or at the limb pocket, I think is really way more accurate to do it out there. But yeah, it worked. I built a bow and tuned it with it, and it moved exactly like a Bowtech did. As far as taking one like turn here, one turn there, and it changes your paper tear. Simple, very simple, effective. And if you know Mathews, they test the piss out of everything before they release it into the market. So I wouldn't be like worried about it.
Wow.
Personally. But after this last year and their small little mishap, which turned into a giant internet deal.
That's what it turned into. It was an internet deal. Like it was just a bunch of people that were starting to kind of freak out. Although I do have my cracked Mathews limb over there on the bench.
And you got a new set of limbs like that, didn't you?
And when I say cracked, I mean a tiny splinter that I literally was
nothing blew out.
I went on my elk hunt and I hunted with that, knowing that it was that. And then when I got back, I changed it because I just didn't want to change my setup before I left.
Yeah, and honestly, like I've yet to see a complete failure in one. It's been like a little flake, and it was a small percentage. I don't think I saw more than 6 or 8 total. And I had now at this point, and I got 600 plus Mathews bows plus ones from out of the air that would still come in.
Yeah. So that's not a concern for you.
It's not. It's not. But even at that point, and this was a conversation I had with them, I was like, you need to say something. You need to do something. You can't just have phenomenal warranty work on it. There's like every video I'm making that isn't even Mathews. There's comments in the video talking about it. It's like, hey, have you heard about this? Have you seen this? Is this happening for you? When you start seeing that, you've got a problem that's not going to go away on its own. And you need to say something. So, but yeah, they're standing behind it, whether you're the original owner or not.
Yeah, that's pretty cool that they actually changed the terms of the warranty.
Yeah,
because they were like, this is important. We want to make sure everybody's taken care of. I'm obviously a Mathews guy. Like typically is the bow that as I've shot, I have felt the most comfortable with Mathews because I got comfortable shooting a Mathews. Mm-hmm. And it will take me a little bit of time. Like I feel like this year I can't buy that bow. I have to try to jump out of this and I have to like force myself to shoot something else for a while. Because I shot a PSE for one of the seasons. Mm-hmm. Really enjoyed it. I can dabble in the Hoyt world. But like I feel like I always just tend to go back. She's just my old faithful, that old sweet faithful.
Maybe you should try a Bowtech.
James is so excited that you just said that right now.
Yeah, I believe you've called it that garbage Bowtech at least 20 times. Like, what are you talking about? It's a good bow.
No, they're all great bows now. I just
They
have to pick a fight just for fun.
I'm aware.
I
very
genuinely
much
like one of the things that makes me the most happy is that all the manufacturers seem to be putting out stuff that's so good and so high quality. There's not one that I'm like, you shouldn't buy that because it's just it's a piece of crap. That doesn't exist. Nope. And I really like that.
It does not. I mean, it's the day and the age that we're in. You can't make something that's garbage and not have the internet destroy you for it. I mean, Mathews had a small section of limbs that had limb flaking, and the internet destroyed them over it.
Yeah,
like just destroyed them. Oh, those things are garbage. Blah blah blah. Blah, blah, blah. It's just like Mathews is the Yankees.
Yeah, I think that's probably
people
right.
That
actually.
love the Yankees love them, and everybody else hates them.
Yep.
And they're just waiting for an opportunity to say how horrible they are. Just waking up at 3 a.m. with the opportunity to say how horrible this company is. Oh my God. I don't get it other than they're just, I equate it back to the Yankees because they were so successful for so long.
Yeah,
so many people hated them because they beat their team or something along the lines, right? That they hate.
If you're a Mathews hater, like and subscribe. Go ahead, comment down below. Let Josh know what you think.
Hey, I'm not a Mathews guy. I'm shooting a Bowtech right now.
What?
I'm absolutely shooting a Bowtech
piece of crap.
I'm an every bow guy.
I know you are.
Absolutely.
No,
and that's the only way to ride. So.
Yeah. No, I get it. It's like I said. I feel like I need to kind of break myself of it. But dude, there's no when I got the bow dialed in exactly how I want. Mm-hmm. And everything is perfect. I like the whole setup's great. My sight tape's good. I want to shoot that bow for like 3 years because I just want to revel in the fact that I can walk outside and it's perfectly what I left.
Right.
Like there's no issues because I know what'll happen. You'll send me a Bowtech just as a joke, and then
I did do that once,
and then I'll rig it up. And I'll start shooting it, and I'll spend like a week trying to get the thing perfect. And I just like I feel like I spend so much time. Like I don't know how you do it so quickly to get a bow to go from 0 to fully set up, and then be confident taking it out hunting. That's part of it. Like I just feel really confident in my setup once I've like really lived with it for a long time.
Yeah, it's probably the difference of having set up so many. That I know when it's set up right without even shooting it. It's like, this bow's dialed. I know it is. So that's why I don't need the same level of confidence behind it. Yeah, that makes sense. But whenever a hunting season rolls around and I build a bow, I always shoot it for at least 2 weeks before I go hunting. With the exception of my hunt in Texas because I wanted to take a new bow and I got the bow 2 days before.
And if you're shooting close range.
Yeah, it was
white
20 yards.
Stuff.
I think it was 15 yards it was set up at. It was like point blank on the ground.
That's what I've noticed, actually, a lot of those types of places. Mm-hmm. Like, where I'm going into an outfitted hunt where you're doing something around a blind. Mm-hmm. They've been doing 15 lately.
I think there's 2 reasons for it. I think one, people suck at ability in the moment, and especially in the moment. And
20?
And 2, hold on. And 2, the closer you are, the less time they have to react.
I get it, but that still just seems crazy. Like I feel like I'm like my scent is just. Like I feel like I'm just right there, yeah.
Yeah, no,
yeah. No, we're gonna back up for bear next year. We're gonna back up like at least another probably 15 yards. Get way up in the tree in the saddles.
Yeah, that's
have a bear come try to figure out what I am hiding in the tree in a saddle.
And climb
That'll be
up there.
fun.
You can't get away.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good times. I've had that happen a couple times. Not in a saddle, but in a tree stand. But so no, I think I know the bow that you need to try this year.
Ooh, okay. Should we? Do you want to say that now, or do you
Yeah,
want?
we can
Okay,
say that now.
okay. Tell me what you think I should try.
Title 34.
Ooh, oh, that's right. I totally forgot that
Yeah.
Dude. Okay. Did you hear that? He just said Title 34 because I've got a title right over there, but it's the full length 38-inch axle to axle. That's what it was last year, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about Title 34. Is it still the wide limbs?
Yep.
Did they literally just shrink the title down?
Yeah. It's
Dude.
so the TRX series was
Yeah.
34, 36, 38, 40, and
Yeah.
now the titles are 34, 36, 38, 40. And all of them are different than what they made last year.
Explain it.
It's got the timing system in it.
Got the timing system in it.
Or the wheel lean system.
Yeah.
in the limb.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for a target bow, like being able to make those little tiny tweaks
Oh man, it's huge.
while you're just standing there on the line.
Yeah.
Golly. Because the crazy thing, okay, let me ask you a question for a target setup. Are you always trying do you bias your arrow at all when you're shooting target?
I mean,
Like,
stabilizer?
No.
Or you mean make your arrow come out slightly out of tune?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Okay, I was
I
wondering.
know a lot of guys that do. I don't.
Yeah. Because basically what I'm talking about is like you get a little bit of a tail left tear if you're a right shooter typically.
Tail left and high.
Yeah, and what you're doing is you're basically forcing the arrow into a scenario where it's forced to react to the wind the exact same every single time. Whereas if the arrow is coming out straight, there could be like little whatever the air conditioning comes on or some BS like that just happens to push the arrow in a way and you miss your magic dime-sized target at 20 yards. I don't know. This is 100% the reason I'm not shooting a 300 is because I spend more time jacking around with stuff like that.
I thought that was to help clear the rest.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard mixed things about it.
Yeah.
Well, I say it's not mixed. I've heard multiple things about it.
Sure.
Okay, so tell me more about the title. What's the title lineup? 34.
Yeah, 36. I don't know. I don't even know the specs other than actual axle because I haven't actually got one yet.
So you're okay.
Yeah, I haven't got a new one yet.
Are they going to make an 80 pound?
No,
Probably not. Just up to 70.
no. And like I said, I haven't seen them and I haven't seen the specs yet, other than I know their lengths. And the rumor mill was they were going to offer a flat solid other than black, so you could get it in like a hunting solid color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you, that cam, is that I'm assuming that cam is a slower cam than compared to the hunting bow.
No.
It's not?
No, they're really similar. And the beauty of the title is you can get a 70, a 75, or an 80% let off. So if you want a little more holding weight on a hunting bow, you can.
Okay, the 75 pound or the 75% let off would be a big deal, I feel like, to just mess around with. It's still
it
mods.
holds a little better. Still what?
Still
yeah,
mods?
same mods, everything. The only thing that's different on the 36 and the 38 is the drive system, which I'm
Yeah.
trying to remember what it's called. Oh, I don't remember. It's like laser etched on it.
I'll put it up here on the
My
screen.
brain's drawing a blank, but
Yeah. Man, that's going to be so cool, though. I feel like it really is a big deal because there's so many times where, for me, I'll have everything set up and I've got to go out here and I'm broadhead tuning, and then I come back. I know I can move the rest.
Yeah.
I know I can move the rest, but I don't want to. And I'll come back here and I'll go shoot back through paper, and then I'll check. And if I'm a little too far off, then I'll have to come press the bow and I'll mess with it again. Mm-hmm. And if I could actually just stand out there while I'm broadhead tuning and just bring those suckers together with an Allen wrench,
And that's
it's gonna be
really
so ridiculous.
That's really where those types of systems shine. Is because at the end of the day, yeah, you're trying to get a good paper tune, right? But getting your broadhead and your field point to hit in the same spot is what's so tedious and time consuming, which is where you're like, I want to shoot a bow for 3 years. Right? Because you get those to hit the same and you're like, don't touch it. Don't breathe on it. Nobody looking at it funny. Just this sucker's got to stay like this, because that's hard to do. I mean, you can get it close, but to get them perfect is hard until you can move the cam left to right in really fine increments.
Yeah, that's so wild.
And any increment you want. Like you can move that thing 1/100th of a turn and you barely moved it at all.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's a really cool system.
I'm
and it's
super
nice
excited about that. Okay, so the lift, obviously, it sold like gangbusters this last year.
Yep.
So is it worth upgrading from the lift of last year to the lift X? from this year?
Well, I guess that depends on what your needs and wants are. To me, it's kind of a no-brainer, and I think that's going to be dictated by what the used market does with those, because there were a lot of those bows sold, like a ton.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many people are going to want to change, because I would be shocked if they would sell you the parts to change it, because like everything else is the same, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's
Right?
interesting.
So I would be shocked if they'd sell it. I'm willing to guarantee you they will not sell it.
It would be kind of stupid. They would obviously just be
Yeah.
like completely...
Because everything else is the same.
Yeah,
right?
you go buy a $250 kit and
Yeah.
throw
But
it
if-
on your lift from last
I
year.
mean, it just depends on how precise you want to be. If you're average everyday Joe shooting stuff at 20 or 30 yards, it's not that important. But if you want to really increase your level of precision and accuracy and refine your skill to a higher level, yeah, it's worth it. Like I would change it immediately, but I'm picky and anal and I want to set it perfect.
Yeah.
So it's all within your own level of what you really feel is important. And if your bow's already dialed and perfect, then do I really need that? Well, over time, those things shift.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just cables and strings and all that stuff just change.
Well,
and
the wheeling,
things change.
the wheeling changes. It shouldn't, but it does. Like over time, you start shooting it, and you'll have ones that you got them set like perfect, and you go back to it 2 months later, and there's a little lean in there, and you're like, "There's nothing in there to lean. How's that going on?" Well,
I mean, it doesn't surprise me. You're constantly
Yeah.
hammering those limbs over and over and over and over and over again.
yeah,
That's one of the factors.
It's the wheel bearings.
It's the bearings.
Yeah, it's the bearings.
Yeah,
almost
Matthew-
guaranteed it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that they've shifted a little bit, allowing the wheeling to change a little bit. Because if those
Okay.
bearings are sitting on bearing metal, and a bearing shifts, the whole thing will move a little left to right, which
Okay.
will change your wheeling.
Okay.
So I really think that's where it comes from. And almost everyone I've seen over time, you got to go back and check it again and retune it,
Oh,
because
interesting.
your left to right changes.
Okay, so
the ability to precisely move it
Right.
easily,
subtly.
big deal. Big
Yeah.
deal. Change it.
Yeah.
Piece of cake.
You know, the biggest issue that I've had is with things changing is the stupid felt on those Q80 rests, or even on the ham skis, like just kind of wearing into the actual into the whale tail. Mm-hmm. I hate that. Like, why can't they come up with some sort of bearing system or something
I
like
don't
that?
put it on there.
You don't put it on there?
No, because it's going to change.
You're not making a bunch of noise when you draw
I
on
put it on there right before I go hunting, but I don't practice with it on there.
Oh, okay.
So I shoot the whole time,
Yeah.
and then like a week before I go hunting,
Then and you're just verifying
quiet your bow
tune
down.
again.
Maybe even 2 days before I go, quiet everything down, because you're not going to sit there and shoot it a bunch
Right.
at that point, typically.
Right.
So you won't wear through it. It'll keep everything quiet,
Yeah.
and you're good to go.
No, I've got like the sword draw, like the sheath, yeah, that's what I've got right now when I'm drawing the bow.
Yeah, I actually forgot to throw it on my launcher for my Bowtech that I was shooting in Texas.
Yeah.
And I started drawing it back, and the deer I shot turned around and looked at me and then put his head back forward.
Yeah.
Like I started drawing and stopped. I got like a quarter draw, and I'm holding a quarter draw. And he turns his head back, and I drew again. Like, God, you forgot to put the freaking fleece on there. You
Yeah.
knucklehead.
Man, I did
was in
it
such a hurry, though,
I
for
did
that.
it on an Axis, and the Axis, when I started drawing, it legitimately, there was so much dust that had gotten on the arrow from just
Yeah.
riding around.
Yeah, it was dirty.
I went from the draw, and it was so loud. I literally remember thinking, like, oh my gosh. And the Axis took off. He
Yeah.
was not interested in sticking around. Like, it was like he'd heard that noise before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
It's like, that's the sound of death.
That's the sound. I've had many a friend hear that sound and then die. Well, you've sold me. I'll probably upgrade to the new lift.
Well,
probably not a Bowtech.
For what you're wanting to do, it's a cool system. And when they made that bow last year, I looked at it and go, how are you going to fix this? And literally, or how are you going to improve this? And I probably told 50 people, I was like, well, the only way they're going to really improve on this is to put an easy to use tuning system on.
Yeah.
Because this bow's so light for what it is. It's so rigid. It's so smooth. It's so quiet. It's so fast. Like I don't get it.
And
Like,
you
what are
still
gonna
like
do?
the mods. Like you
Yes.
explained it in the Hoyt video. And if you haven't watched that video, you should watch. We did a podcast talking about the release of Hoyt's new lineup this year as well. But go into depth a little bit about why a rotating mod is worse than interchangeable mods.
You can't really design every increment on a rotating mod. A rotating mod is, okay, we're rotating this module from 30 to 25 and then drilling holes in the rotational mod at each stopping point. It's not as efficient to do that. It's efficient, but not as efficient. And the beauty of an individual module is you can actually design the draw force curve of every individual module. So instead of like, okay, we're making this for 30 inches and then we're figuring out what a half inch shorter is all the way down, that's not how they do it. They actually go through and refine every individual module's draw force curve to get the most speed out of it possible. And that's why Hoyt switched to it, because it's faster. So they can make a more efficient cam at each length, but it's the same cam base. So they're only making a module in that instance, where back in the Dizay, Martin and Hoyt both had fixed cams that you couldn't change the length. And each one was designed for each draw length. And it was the most efficient thing you could have. Well, when Mathews went to modules, they were not really giving up the speed as bad because you can design each one specifically for it. And now Hoyt's done the same. And it's the exact same system as last year. And even the let-offs, they go through and redesign it. They're not just readjusting the let-off. They're readjusting the draw force curve with that let-off on each module. So when there's 200 modules on my wall, they designed the efficiency in 200 individual modules for one model of bow.
Yeah. And so as a shooter, that was frustrating to me for Mathews, for me to be like, gosh, dang it, I want to experiment with this. But when I understood that, no, the reason is that this is literally creating a faster bow at every different step, I kind of understood and was like, all right, this is probably worth, I'll spend the money. I'll get the different mods. I get it. Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure at one point, you left a comment on one of my videos that was talking about a Mathews module, and you called them dinosaur bones or something like that. You hated the modules.
I just think I want something that's user friendly, and the mods aren't user friendly. But if we're gonna have to sacrifice some speed,
do you want a Camry or a Porsche?
Yeah, exactly.
We both know what you want.
Yeah, I want a Camry. I want a beautiful beige Camry.
You do look like a guy who drive a Camry.
Absolutely. No, yeah. I guess it's like I said. I think, and I have allowed myself on my archery journey to basically dip my toe in certain areas of I was the non-rotating mod thing was frustrating, but now I've refined my taste further and I understand why it's necessary. And the other thing is I've never had an issue with the Mathews mods. I've never had an issue ever with anything like coming loose, but the prime, dude, I used to rattle that thing to pieces on 2 different primes, and I'd use the blue Loctite and the whole deal, and I don't know how the hell it was possible, but I could literally still rattle those things loose. Yeah. So I don't know if that has to do with it, just being a prime, or if it was.
Oh no, they're PSEs forever were notorious for the modules vibrating loose and making noise. Notorious.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, depending on what draw length you set them at, they almost always come loose.
Yeah. I mean, you're just putting so much there's so much force going into a bow when you shoot it. It's wild.
Yeah.
It's not surprising at all that every once in a while there's gonna be a limb issue from somebody, because they're also trying to take off so much meat. They're trying to make them they're trying to balance everything perfectly. You want the most amount that you can get on there that's just over the line of this is going to explode.
Correct.
Which is so wild to think about.
Yeah, and I'm going to hold on to it.
Yeah.
Every time I fire it, just going to hang on to it like it's no big deal.
Yeah.
And we take for granted what's going on there. I mean, it's like an 86% efficiency rating or something. It's crazy. Of combustion motors in the 30% efficiency
Is it
rating.
really?
Yes.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
So bows are really never going to get, I mean, if they're at 86.
When I keep saying they're not really going to get faster, that's why. They're 86% efficient.
Wow.
It's not going to look like a bow. Whatever it is not going to look anything like it looks now to see a significant increase. Because for the mechanical advantage tool that it is, it's insanely efficient. And a 100% efficient bow would be 70 pounds from 0 to 30.
Yeah.
And then you'd have to be 99%, and you got 1% let off break point, right? They're stupid efficient. It's amazing how
that's wild.
What it produces. You look at bows from 20 years ago, right? It's archaic in the difference, the ability to transfer the energy without it being loud. You take something that was 20 feet a second slower in 2000, and it literally sounded like a 22.
Wow.
It was as loud as a 22. In fact, I remember PSE came out with a bow called the Rageous, there was an era of PSE where they were just knocking off everybody else's stuff. And Rageous was an Alpha Tech knockoff.
Okay.
It didn't look exactly the same, but it was like, okay, here's the riser geometry, here's the overall length, here's where the I-beam comes back with the built-in overdraw, but we're gonna make the cuts in the riser look different. But outside of that, it was like the same bow.
That's funny.
They were naughty in the early 2000s, late 19s. Like they completely knocked off a Mathews bow once that was legitimately interchangeable parts.
How the heck did
so
they
do you
do
remember
that?
well, they got sued. Do you remember the Mathews MQ1?
Yes.
So the PSE made a bow called the Durango the next year, and you could interchange parts.
Dude, how is that a thing?
Well, I think it was, to be honest, is PSE invented the center shot riser, but few bow manufacturers actually paid for the patent.
Okay.
So, well, Mathews was at that when they came out with the MQ1, that was the most popular bow that year. So PSE went, screw it, we're just going to copy it. And I probably prompted the conversation of, hey, you're not paying for our patent. Now, PSE changed it. They went back and it didn't look anything like it. But if you can find an original PSE Durango and an MQ1, you can take the limbs off a Durango and put them on an MQ1. You can take the idler wheel off of an MQ1 and put it on a Durango.
Man, that's
everything's
funny.
the same. Identical bow. I remember that coming out and my eyes were just like, oh my God, this is like China. This is like 100%
That's
knockoff.
what I was going to say.
was like
Is that
China.
what they did? They were manufacturing out of China
No, they were still made.
for that
They were
season?
still made in the U.S. It's just
Wow.
PSE was a 2-cam company, and Mathews was taking everything in single cam.
Yeah.
And I think it was just a desperate pull at market share because it's like we're losing our ass. Like they were making the Mach series bows back then, and you couldn't give one away. Hard, aggressive 2-cam bows, nobody would buy them, and they took a long time to change. And that's why, as a manufacturer or in anything really, you can't be slow to change. Because if you see the trend shifting, you can't just be stubborn like some people, like Hoyt was. Like they wrote their 3-paragraph essay on the front page of their catalog the year they finally came out with a single cam, trying to say, we think this is a terrible idea. Double cams are way better, but we're going to make one.
That.
It was hilarious. God, I'd give anything for that catalog again.
Just like an apology letter.
Yeah, like you open up the first page of the catalog and it's 3 paragraphs with like a nice picture in the background, right? But not of a bow. It's like a skyline on a mountain or something, explaining that it's basically, to sum it up, was we're pissed. We think this is stupid, but we're doing it anyway because you guys demand that we do it. So voila, the indie cam, and it was their single cam.
We
comes out.
listen to our dumb customers.
that's
Hoyt.
so how it felt. But it's like, and we fully believe that this will come back around to be the dominant force because there is nothing more efficient than that. And today's 2-cam bow is not, or today's modern compound is not indifferent from a 2-cam bow. The reason they don't even call them 2-cams is because they don't attach to the, what is it? It has to attach to the axle assembly or the limb or something like that. A 2-cam bow does. A 2-cam bow doesn't attach back to its own cam. Right? So now if you look at all the cam systems, the cable's attached to the cams on both sides.
Right.
A true 2-cam was attached to a hard point. Right?
No
So it was attached to
kidding.
the axle on the outside and didn't rotate. Or the axle on the around the internal, but not attached to the cam. The attachment point for the cable was not physically attached to the cam on both sides. Now every one you look at is physically attached to the cam. Now maybe the whole axle assembly rotates, but it's attached to the cam, and that's why it's not a 2-cam bow. Or you would call what today is, like everything you see today is a 2-cam bow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All the little tiny subtle things, and especially like your knowledge and remembering of all the bows throughout history is so fascinating.
And I'm a moron and I am drinking, so I might have missed something along the way or say something wrong. But
You're barely
But I'm
drinking.
sipping. Oh, well, I wanted to make it last, Brandon. I wanted to make it last.
Okay. You got to make it last. He likes to take things slow. I get it.
Some
I
days.
understand.
Some days I'm an eager beaver. You just never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we started talking about PSE. What are they going to do?
Well, I questioned to say anything because the last time I said something, I got a call saying, well, that's not true. And I'm like, well, are you shipping bows? How long is it taking you to ship a bow right now?
You don't have to talk about this if you don't want to.
I will. It's fine. So they've really struggled to ship product. They were struggling to ship product before the buyout. And I think that was Shepley taking as much equity out of the company as he could because it wasn't selling. So they were stripping it down. And then somebody finally came along with the 11 hour and bought it. And my assumption is they didn't realize they needed to put money in the company to operate. They probably thought that what we're buying is a functioning company. And on paper, technically, yes, it was. I know the buyout for PSE went through like 6 different times and got rejected in finance. Like when they got to the bank.
Wow.
No, this ain't going to work. We're not loaning money on this. Because I know Bomar almost bought it. I thought Dudley almost bought it. I thought Rogan almost bought it. There was a bow company that almost. I think actually, if I remember right now, don't quote me on this, but I thought Hoyt or Easton actually went to the table to buy it first.
Wow.
And they went, nope. Mm-mm.
And they started looking at it and got into the financials and said,
Yeah, they had too much bad debt. So what PSE notoriously did forever is give really long terms on product. And for those of you who don't understand that, it means they give you the product and you have a very long time before you actually have to pay for it. So, and they would change their product so often that once a PSE product has hit its cycle year and it's over with, it's worth half or less.
Right.
Or initially, right? So if you're a dealer and you're still holding on to that bow, well, now it's worth less than I paid for it, and I can't get my money back out of it. So how am I paying a bill? So they just had a ton of bad debt on the boat.
They just had a bunch of accounts receivables that they weren't
being able to collect.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So it was basically upside down. So you were buying an upside down company. Now that's my understanding of it. And please don't call me and tell me I'm spreading misinformation.
No, call him.
But
PSE, call him, write him an email.
Yeah. Yeah. My life's not stressful enough. Yeah, sure. But no, that was my understanding of it. And until they can ship a bow regularly without it being an issue, I'm not going to believe that that's fixed. And that was when my PSE rep came in, he's not my PSE rep anymore. I've got a different one, but when he came in, he's like, what do we got to do to get you behind the product? Ship a bow on time.
Yikes.
He's like, yeah, I know it's been kind of hard, but 17 excuses. And now I do wonder how well they're going to do now that they don't have Dudley endorsing them anymore.
Yeah. I just wonder about the voice. Like to me, and we've talked about this a lot this weekend, is Dudley's just a loud voice. And you're constantly hearing PSE, 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 PSE from a man who, like, very reputable. People love what he does. They watch his videos. They listen to the podcast.
Yep.
And now he's saying Hoyt, Hoyt, Hoyt.
Yeah, and there'll be a percentage of people that go, you were just telling me PSE was the best bow, right?
Yeah, I know.
And there'll be a percentage of people that go, well, that's his job, and he wouldn't shoot something that isn't good quality, which is true. John wouldn't shoot something that's garbage. He would not. He would not do that. He might allow a financial decision to drive it, but he's not going to shoot something that's bad.
I also think that most people know that any of the guys that are out there getting paid by a bow company, you gotta give them like they're not going to just be like, hey, I'm getting paid by this company and this is dog shit.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to do that. They're going to say, but I also agree with you. I don't think that the vast majority of people that are in the industry that are getting paid by the larger companies, I think if they go, this is just not a fit for me at all, they're probably not going to take that endorsement. So they're going to take the
if they just can't shoot it. Like
Exactly.
I guarantee you, and if you go back and listen to John's podcast when he talked about changing, they all sent him bows. Like they all knew he was available. They all sent him bows. He played with all of them and settled on it. But he had also said, if I remember right, I listened to it, but it's been a little while ago. I think he said he really felt like he already had his mind made up early, but he still went through the diligence of trying all.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. But yeah, nobody's going to pick up something that sucks.
Totally.
Like what really sucks anymore too?
Well, apparently maybe PSE because they don't show up.
It's not the bow. The bow doesn't suck. The bow doesn't suck. The bow doesn't ship, and that's a problem.
The bow doesn't suck. It doesn't exist.
Yeah. Well, at least that's how it's been. They're running like really long lead times, and they're running really long lead times in a time of year where you shouldn't have long lead times.
Right.
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 So like when a bow comes out,
announcement launch, like
yeah, they're already out.
So PSE has already announced their 2025 lineup because they announced really early.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's a Mach 33. It's a really nice bow.
Yeah.
And I think I even said in the video, I was like, my only concern is whether or not you're going to ship. Like, this is a good bow. Now it's $20.99, and I think I've across the board said, I can't get excited about a $2,100 bow because I don't think a bow should ever cost $2,100. Like, that's kind of asinine. the guy that wants a $5,000
I want a
bow over here.
$5,000 bow.
Yeah,
I just want to see what they can do.
Yeah, well, no, and I don't disagree with that premise.
Ultraview will get me. Oh, don't worry.
Yeah,
Ultraview
will hand you a $5,000 bow in 3 months. Here you go. Yeah, but yeah, that bow's really good. It's just for like the last 5 years, they've had like really bad lead times, and they initially you go, well, they must be really popular. It was like the Xbox stuff when it came out. The PlayStations when they come out, you can't get one. They're impossible to get. Blah blah blah. Whether they're doing that on purpose or not,
right?
Could or could not be marketing. But when you release a bow in, let's say, October, and it's May, and you still have a 12-week lead time, huh?
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Or when you release a bow in, like last year, their aluminum bows, they released them, I think it was November-ish or October-ish, something like that, when they first released the product. And I ordered like 20 bows, and I didn't see a bow till like May. Like,
that blows my
mind. How do you do that? Like, that's, I don't know. It's just, it's frustrating.
I hope they can get it together, because that's such an iconic brand for archery. And just the history of it, I don't know. I feel like so many people that I know when they were kids.
So was Jennings.
So what?
So was Jennings.
Well, I don't even know what Jennings is.
Jennings was the number one selling, but it's because you weren't in it long enough.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, so Jennings, like Tom Jennings, was like the inventor of the compound bow.
Okay.
And you don't know what Jennings is because Bear bought it and then it dissolved it in like 2 years.
Okay.
Way back when.
Yeah.
So, but at one point, the Jennings Carbon Extreme in like 94, 95, number one selling bow in the country.
That's interesting.
And that company doesn't exist anymore.
Right. Okay. So what you're saying is you are not a nostalgic person and you have no heart.
I have no nostalgia. I do have a heart, but not nostalgia.
Okay.
Like I'm like Tony Stark. I'm a lot of things, but sentimental is not one of them.
Okay.
Like it's a tool.
Yeah.
It's a tool to me. It just is. It's a mechanical tool, and I would like to see a better mechanical tool.
I like that.
No matter what.
I do. I also think that in an industry where the competition is really fierce among the top performing bow companies.
Oh yeah.
That you're going to have companies that fall behind if they can't internally kind of keep their stuff together. If they can't actually run a good business, they can't manufacture well, they can't ship quickly. That's going to be...
Well, and to be honest and clarified, I think it's literally all about not having enough money in their company.
Okay.
I really do. I just don't think they have enough capital to pay for raw goods to keep up.
Wow.
So their ability to make a product and then in turn turn that product out in a timely manner gets difficult.
Yeah, interesting.
But this is all my own speculation. I could be completely wrong. I could be a complete bonehead.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a little healthy speculation and wondering.
Yeah.
But things is why does it take so long to ship a bow? All right, let me ask you another. Let's lean it back into the Mathews stuff.
I was going to do that too.
Good.
I was like, because there's still some stuff we didn't talk about.
Well, I want to know, what are you expecting as far as how quickly they're going to be able to ship everything this year? Kind of standard Mathews times?
Depends on who you are and how many you order.
Oh, okay. Because
Josh
orders...
I have 300 bows on order right now.
Josh orders a crap ton right out the gate so that he's got bows on the wall.
Yeah, and it's the only way with them. It's the only way you're going to get a bunch of bows is if you order a bunch of bows. And you don't... I blindly order. I order them before I even see them. It's like, tell me when you can take an order.
Yeah, it's because you believe that they're going to put out something
Mathews
that's
fantastic.
fantastic.
Always going to sell a lot of bows.
Yeah.
They're always going to sell a lot of bows. Even when it ain't so fantastic, they're still going to sell a lot of bows.
Yeah.
So as a dealer, you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't order a bunch of them when they first launch them.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Which is part of why the bigger guys have a lot of bows. They're not playing favorites. Those guys order a lot of bows. Lancaster orders more bows than I do.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we're allowed to. They'll order more than me.
Yeah.
And they'll follow it up with more because they are going to sell more because they have way more bow hunters than I have in my area. But they're doing that. And that's so anytime your shop goes, well, boo-hoo, poor me, this isn't fair, yada, 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 whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to say it, he's not ordering bows in high volume. Mm-hmm. And he's not ordering them the second they can be out. And I was guilty of it too back in the day. I used to wait for the bow to come out because Mathews was the first company that would send you the bow on launch day. Like, we launched the product and there's one in your store.
Oh, you didn't get to see it beforehand at all?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Wow.
No. So back in the Dizzy, everybody had sales reps that traveled to your store, but Mathews. So Mathews decided, we're just going to send you a bow, period. Not send a person over to show you bows. We're just going to send you one. Here you go.
That's
your
cool.
bow.
I mean, that part
Right?
of it's cool. It would just be nice if it was like 2 weeks beforehand.
Well,
but I guess
but-
this was probably pre-YouTube and all that stuff
It's
anyway.
pre-YouTube, but they were really good. Like they always had like UPS down pat to where it showed up the day they released the product.
Yeah,
or announced the product. It was one popped up in your store.
Yeah.
And unless you were an idiot, you did not sell it. This is your bow to let people test fire.
Right.
But the beauty of that, like they'd give you the ability to order the bows like 15 days before that. You didn't have to wait till launch day to order bows. You could order them early. And you could do what they would call a pre-order, where you would order 20 bows, 30 bows, something like that. And they're just going to ship them as soon as they're available, and you should get them in a reasonable amount of time. But when you go back to reorder, everybody else had already reordered too. So,
Right.
March, April.
Back of the line.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
Right. And I would wait frequently. I was like, I'm not ordering a bow until I see it and shoot it and confirm I like it. I used to do that, which a lot of shops still do that. And if you wait till you actually get a bow in your hand and test it and try it and then call them up, you're not getting bows till January or February.
Yeah.
If you like,
At best.
like the day the product launches, Brandon, the beginning of the day, the lead time's probably December 15th. The end of the day, it might be March.
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. But they know how many bows per day they can make.
Yes.
Like they know their manufacturing lead times, and they just go, we know that for every batch of 100, it pushes it back a week or whatever it is. You know, like,
Yeah, it's not that.
I'm sure it's not. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like they just know their timelines.
Yeah.
All right. So you'd mentioned that there was some other things about the Mathews bows that you wanted to talk about, or accessories or whatever.
There's other Mathews bows, and there's a pretty big deal accessory.
Okay.
So there's a 28-inch axle to axle bow this year,
Okay.
and you can get it in two different configurations. You can get it with a lighter limb on it. So the Prima's gone, and
No more Prima.
The Prima, the Engage, I think it's called the Engage, or no, Image. Prima, Image, and Stoke are all gone.
Okay.
Those all don't exist.
Yep.
And then they have a 28-inch axle to axle aluminum riser bow that's light, fast, and you can get it in the same poundages as the traditional lift, or you can get it in a much lighter configuration option. But it takes the same modules. So all the same modules that fit on a lift fit on this bow. And I want to say you can get it to like I think you can get it to a 40-pound.
Oh, okay. So
Remember?
that'll be the
So it's the ladies
the
bow
used slash
replacement. I
ladies
want
bow.
to say the bow peaks at like either 28 or 29.
Okay.
But you can also get it in an 80-pound bow if you want. So if you're a short draw length guy that wants a heavy bow, it will work.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, you just have to have the right limb on it. They come with one of two limb options.
Okay.
And then the Atlas is gone.
Oh yeah. Okay. The Atlas. So the Atlas was their long draw, and it was like a crazy long draw.
Yeah, it was big. It had a super high brace height,
Yep.
and it was I think it went out to 34 or something like that.
I thought I was going to love that bow, and for some reason I did not like it. I don't know why.
Well, it's too much brace height, to be honest, because it gets really sluggish and slow to respond when it comes out of your hand.
Okay.
So there is some benefit to having some speed in the response time of a bow.
Yeah,
It feels
okay.
better. It comes off crisper. Your torque is going to typically be affected less.
Yeah, I
because
guess that
it's
makes sense.
longer to go forward. But it should be super forgiving in general. But the lift, or not, sorry, the Atlas replacement is a different cammed version of a Lift 33.
Oh, a different cammed version.
Yeah, so it's the same riser, but a different cam on it that goes to a different length, and it takes the same modules.
And I mean, I'm assuming it's a longer draw cam.
Yeah, and they recommend shooting that bow 30 to 33, and that's it. Like,
Okay, but
don't take it out of that.
But 33 inch.
It's a 33-inch bow.
Oh, that's amazing.
yeah, so
but it's-
shorter, longer draw length bow.
But a person with a very long draw will get the lift platform, basically, which is a freaking fantastic platform. They're just getting a modified cam.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, great. That's
So yeah,
cool.
now there's 3 risers is all in the hunting line.
Okay.
Everything else is gone, and there's 1 module base
For
all
all
the
of
hunting
them.
bows.
That's going to make you so happy.
I'm so elated. I was cursing the name last year because they came out with the titles, which all had new modules, and the lifts, which all had new modules. I had to bring in 420 something different new modules. And each module, like the target bows, I usually only carry 3 or 4 of each, but hunting bows, I carry at least 10 of each.
I wish
Do the math.
they'd like color code somehow on there, because even in my drawer,
Yeah.
like the modules just kind of that I have in there, they're hard to read the whole deal. It's hilarious. Like I can't freaking imagine.
Yeah,
you guys at a
laser
shop.
etch it. Just laser etch it.
Yeah,
You could at least read it.
Yeah,
because it's a black stamped anodized module. You can't read it.
yeah.
Like it's like trying to see it. It's tough. But yeah, it was not. Last year was a lot of money spent in modules to get it up to where it is now. But now you can. We're allowed to sell them online, so it's easy. I mean, there's a lot of shops don't want to carry them and sell them because it's a bear. Because I mean, there's so many different ones, and you can always order the bow in the length you want it in and the let off and all that. But it takes longer to get the bow.
Oh, okay.
Right. So if you go, I want a black one with a 27-inch draw length and an 80% let off at 55 pounds.
Why do they ship with 85%?
It's more popular.
Why?
To most people, they say it feels better and they can hold it longer. At
Well,
draw.
you can hold it longer, but
It's easier in and out of the pocket. So like when you draw it, if you're not used to it, it feels easier. Like if you're used to it, the 80's fine. 80's great.
I feel like I'm more stable with the 80.
You are, because you're holding more weight at draw.
Yeah.
Of course you are. But if you were trying the bow out, right, if you're just drawing it back and firing it, the fact that you can sit back in that pocket a little better feels better to the average person. No different than a rounded rubber grip feels great if you don't know what a grip's supposed to feel like.
Yeah.
Right. So when you look at Mathews, and it's not a dig on Mathews, I think they design some of the things on their bow assuming that there's a good chance that the customer doesn't get helped or doesn't get taught.
And that they're going to be shooting arrows at 7 feet in the back of a shop.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's
possibly without any supervision.
Right.
Right. That is, here, go, try it out.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you don't understand what a grip's supposed to feel like, and I hand you a grip that's actually a good grip, you're going to go, it kind of hurts my hand. It doesn't feel very comfortable.
It doesn't feel very
every time I move my hand,
sure.
it digs into it. It's like, yeah, so you can tell you moved your hand, dummy. Like that matters.
Yeah.
But if you didn't understand that, you would go, this feels like ass. Right? Just like you pick up a target bow and go, oh, cold metal and hard edges. That doesn't feel good. It's not supposed to. You're supposed to know where your hand goes on it. And if by having edges and hard edges, you can tell where your hand goes on it way easier. Or you want the bow to have a lower let off. You want to draw it back to a given stopping point where it just comes in and goes whoop and stops, because it forces you to hold it there. If it was comfortable and you had this little pocket, you can actually move your hand back and forth, which is changing your impact point.
Right.
Right. So if you don't know what makes a bow shoot better, you would want the other one. But in actuality, you don't want that. You want the rigid, hard-walled edge because it forces you to hold it at the same point and allows you to point better at the target and makes you shoot from the exact same length, because that's changing your length. You change the difference between the front sight and the peep, you change the impact point. If you don't change anything else but just change those two things, it'll go on a different spot. But if you're pulling it in harder or less, you're changing the poundage a little bit too.
Okay. Why wouldn't Mathews do a 75% let off on the lift series? Because they're doing it.
Because I would get on a plane, fly to Sparta, and start shooting people. I don't want another 100 modules on my wall. That's why.
That's not the reason.
No, the average consumer. I'm aware. The average consumer is going to buy 80 or 85%.
That makes
from
sense.
a hunting standpoint.
Yeah.
If you're shooting less than 80%, you're shooting target. Buy a title.
Yeah.
You can get a 70, 75, or 80 in a title, right?
Ooh, the 34 title.
So
I have that fun. I got that mint green sitting right behind you, right there.
Yeah.
Is it? Are they doing some fun colors? Have you seen any?
I haven't. I'm sure there's probably a new color, but I haven't seen it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Man, I'm super excited.
I did order 40 or 50 of them.
Okay.
And they are available on the website, podiumarcher.com. Check it out.
Oh yeah, because you can sell
I can sell
bows
all
online.
target bows online.
So if you're, by the way, like target stuff, I just started kind of going back into that last year, and especially in the winter, like post hunting season, leaning back into the target stuff has made me so much better this year than I was, because I didn't just put my bow down for like 4 or 5 months in the cold months. Right. And it was fun, like getting to know a different community of people, understanding the different way a bow worked, like from an indoor standpoint, where you've removed all variables and excuses. It's you, a concrete floor, a paper target at 20 yards, and it's a crazy kind of intense.
Yeah.
Like when you get deep in a round and you're doing really well and you're on your 7th end and it goes really well, and then your 8th end.
The stress is just
and
going,
it goes really well. And your 9th end, and it goes really well, and then I ruin
shit the bed.
The 10th end always goes terrible. But it's so goofy to just to think about it. But like literally, there have been nights where I've left, and I feel like I have like an elevated heart rate,
Sure,
because I was so close to
anxiety.
300.
Yeah, you're experiencing anxiety.
Just couldn't quite get there.
Yeah. Well, the reality of it, like your 3D archer, right? He's probably got 17 different excuses why he didn't hit the middle of the target every time he didn't hit the middle of the target, because you've got all these variables, right? So you can blame it on anything you want. And the problem with that, it's kind of like not owning your responsibilities in life. It's the same thing. Like if you don't sit there and take ownership of what happens and blame yourself rather than blaming someone else for what went wrong, you're never addressing anything. So you're not fixing anything and you're not improving. The same thing happens with the 3D archer. And no offense to 3D guys. If you're constantly coming up with 17 different excuses in your mind, appears all that matters. It doesn't matter what comes out your mouth. It's what you believe, right? And if you're coming up with 17 different excuses why you didn't hit the middle of the target, oh, I must have misjudged the yardage. Oh, I didn't have a definite point of aim. Maybe that's where I was pointing. I might have leaned into the hill a little too much at that point. You don't know why you missed. You think you know why you missed, or you're creating excuses. You have a tendency to not blame yourself. Right, you have a tendency to blame your environment.
Yep.
If you're not sitting there blaming yourself, then you're not working on your own problems and improving them. Putting the onus on yourself makes you a better archer, which is why people who shoot indoor get better. People who shoot 3D don't necessarily get better, at least not at the same clip. If you sit there and shoot 3 months indoor every year, you're going to become a better archer way faster than a guy who shoots 5 months of 3D.
Yeah, interesting.
Because you're working on your fundamentals.
Right.
Everything you do.
Right.
Turning the onus back on you, blaming yourself, looking in the mirror and addressing whatever is going on instead of trying to pretend like it's not you.
And now with my brand new Title 34 in Barney purple or whatever they released this year.
There's a new gray color.
Oh, it's a new gray color?
It's a new gray color. I'm trying to remember what they called it. I thought it was granite. Might have been gunmetal. I don't remember.
I like
but
gray. That would be awesome.
It's a darker gray too.
Okay.
It's
cool.
It's a darker gray. It's good
Nice.
looking. It's like charcoal gray.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be badass.
Yeah, and then whatever the other color was called, I want to say it's granite. That's gone.
Okay.
They don't make it anymore. But
What
the other solids are still there.
Do you know what the lift primary color is going to be this year? Like their flagship color?
They dropped Realtree. Realtree's gone.
Oh, really?
No longer Realtree.
Really?
No more Realtree and no more. I want to say Elevated too, but I could be wrong. I can't remember. They dropped one other camo color, and then they added
drop Sitka.
I think they dropped Elevated too, but kept Subalpine. If I remember right, could be wrong. Sorry, I know there's one more gone.
Okay, well,
because they told me which. Yeah, you can put it on here.
It'll be on their website.
They told me
now.
which colors were coming out of the accessory line, and the other camo that they added, if I remember right, is Kuyu Verde.
Nice.
Yeah, they haven't had Verde before.
Nice. That's awesome. Okay, cool. Well, check out their website, Mathews. Is it MathewsArchery.com?
Yes, MathewsArchery.com.
Because they'll have all the colors and all the fun stuff on there.
Yeah.
Anything else that you want to share during this pod?
Yes, sir, I do.
Tell me.
Mathews has in conjunction with UltraView, new site this year. And it's not just a Mathews labeled UltraView slider. It's a completely redesigned new site. It's available in a 3-pin vertical, 3-pin horizontal, 5-pin horizontal, and it's smaller, lighter, and drastically improved, and you can only buy it from Mathews till June, I believe.
So you'll have to order it on the Mathews website?
Or from Mathews dealer.
Or from a Mathews
Any
dealer.
Mathews dealer can, and I ordered 100 of them.
Okay, so you ordered a bunch of them too.
Yeah, I'll have sites, but I'm not allowed to ship them.
Can't ship the sites.
Can't ship the site.
You got to sell them out of the store?
You can't ship the sites until there's no longer a back order. Which is what Mathews does to dealers that are allowed to sell their accessories online. They don't, like the modules last year when I got 1,000 emails going, can you please sell me a set of modules? Nope. They're on back order.
I know. I freaking hated that point in time because I wanted 80% let off mods. I couldn't get them from anybody.
Yeah.
I have friends in high places.
Yeah,
and
I
couldn't
didn't
even
have
freaking get one.
They did 85s before they did 80s. Like it took me a long time to get 80s, but yeah, it's simply a matter of they don't want your shop to not even have seen one and already have them starting to show up in customers' hands, right?
Okay.
So they won't let people that, like myself, that have a tendency to order big up front to make sure I have product no matter what, turn around and sell that online when the other shop hasn't even got his stuff yet. Even if it's his own fault that he hasn't got his stuff yet because he didn't order right, they still try to protect him a little bit.
Yeah.
So whenever a accessory is brand new, it's not allowed to go online until they tell me it's out of back order. And it's like, okay, you can put them online now. So I won't. They likely will not be on the website for sale to be shipped until June or July.
Is it still the typical kind of black UltraView color?
I haven't seen the color of it yet. I'm assuming it's black, but it's a 100% completely redesigned site, and it's supposedly way better. My rep was super psyched about it.
Dude, that's amazing because I love that site already. I don't know what the heck they would have done to make it like exponentially better. Yeah. I'm super excited to see that then. Okay.
Yeah, and I want to say it retails for $700.
What? No, are you kidding me?
No, it's $700.
Holy shit.
I know, and I ordered 100 of them, and I ordered it, and I went, dude, is that a good idea? That's an awful lot. But he's like, dude, they're going to be back ordered for 6 months to a year.
$700?
Yeah.
Does it rub my back?
Might rub your nuts if you ask nice.
No, that's a lot.
It is. But how much was the slider? 600?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it was $599.
And they drastically improved it? Shouldn't it be more money? In premise, right? If you're willing to pay $600 and you make it better, wouldn't it be logical that you'd raise the price?
It's just funny because I guarantee I'm going to do the thing where I look at it and I go, oh my gosh, $700 order. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, no, you're going to have to go to your local Mathews dealer and buy it from him.
Oh, that's right. I can't just push order. Maybe I'll just call you and say order, and then when I come to Washington next time, I'll grab it. Man, that's fascinating. Okay, that's amazing. So there's some really good stuff in general that is coming from Mathews this year, including making your life easier with the mods, which I'm super happy about.
My life's going to be easier with the mods, and you, the guy at home that's trying to tune his bow a little better, his life's going to be a lot easier.
Dude, that's going to be so legit.
It was my only real gripe. I mean, everything about that bow last year was so nice. It's like everything about this is good. The weight that it is, the platform length that it is. I wish it had a little less reflex, but that's just how Mathews makes bows. They're not. They're not gonna. I doubt they change that ever. Oh, one other thing. I was bitching about the grip. They got a new grip.
No, what the hell? Why didn't even say that for last? I literally was going to ask.
I know. I forgot.
Based on the conversation, I assumed that they had just kept the engaged
multiple angles on the grip.
Okay, explain it.
So your engaged grip just sits shallow with the back of the aluminum, right? It's just the pitch it's at. And if you look at like a Hoyt target bow, they had multiple different angles of grips you could put on it. This year they have a engaged grip that's adjustable. It has different angles. So you can have more of a heel or less of a heel on it.
You'll adjust it like
it's not like pivoting adjustable. I think there's different inserts in it. I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I haven't physically seen it, and it does not come on the bows. It's a separate thing.
Oh, you have to buy this.
You can purchase it.
Okay, but it's going to ship with the engaged grip.
It's going to. I believe they still ship with the stock engaged grip.
The new grip is $1,029. By the way.
No, it's not. I don't remember how much it was.
Okay.
I don't want to quote. It's probably $100.
I will say my shooting I got so much more accurate when I changed off the engaged grip and I went to the UltraView grip.
Yeah. Well, and what is the UltraView grip? Square edge.
Square edge.
You can tell where your hand is on it.
Yeah.
And all grips should be that way.
Yeah, and it eliminated my thumb pressure.
Any bow manufacturers that are listening, all grips should be angled on the edge. All of them.
You should make every new person who's never shot a bow not understand why. Where they walk in and they're like, why am I so uncomfortable? I hate this.
Yes.
Bow shooting stupid. I'm going to buy a crossbow.
Well, the beauty of it, right, is if you go in and they're complaining about how it feels, it gives you, the shop, the opportunity to explain to them why it feels that way. And every time I've done that, they go, oh, I never even got that. It's like, yeah, you can tell where your hand is on it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's digging in right here. Okay, have it dig in right on this little line right here and do it that way every time.
Every single time.
And your torque will go way down. And I'm willing to bet your grouping, when you went from an engaged to an UltraView grip, shrunk left to right.
Yeah, my left to rights for sure did.
Yeah, because you're trying to hold your hand on it the same, and that's your left to rights.
Yeah.
All left to rights grip, up and down's head position.
Okay. I need to go take some more lessons. Oh, I do. I need to. I need to come to. I need to come down and just take some more lessons. I need to go to George down in Georgia. Georgia.
Yeah, old Riles.
Old Riles.
You know, I met Riles when I was 18 and he was like 21.
Seriously?
He was working for Martin in
Okay.
Walla Walla. Yeah, when they had the Scepter series, I think it was a Scepter 2, he was helping design bows back then. He was very young and I was even younger.
Dude, that dude can communicate, man. Like
Yeah.
he knows stuff about. Like, I've watched some of his like really long
short hair and a
stuff.
clean goatee, not scraggly and crazy
Wow.
looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably wouldn't remember it, but I remember it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's I don't know. I really like the way he teaches. Like just listening to him because he gets really granular with it and he explains exactly why. And I really like that because that tends to stick with me longer. It's not
Sure.
just like, hey, move your head to the left. It's like, here's why you would move your head to the left and what will happen.
Well, but you're a very analytical person that likes to explain things thoroughly, so your
Yeah.
brain would digest that way.
Yeah.
Most people don't do that. So
Most
a lot of
people are
times when yes, that's fair. Like most people are a little dumb like me, right? To where the way that someone's going to explain it, it's going to go over their head, right? So you might be trying to go into great detail the umpteenth reason why this is important, but you probably lost that person about halfway through.
Yeah, it's possible.
So
There might be a reason that you have like 4 times the people that subscribe to your channel on YouTube than he does.
well, I've had to deal
No,
with
it's
that.
because you do meth and then you do your videos and you throw so much information at people so quickly. They're like, wow, that was the fastest 10 minutes of my life. I can't believe how much he just showered me with this delicious Mathews information. And then George is like, okay, no. Now we're at this is the peg, that this is what this did and the history of this in the Roman Empire and the.
Yeah. And once again, that was what you would
Oh, no, I
enjoy
eat
for
it
sure,
up. I'm
but
not joking.
you
I'm
don't.
going to go down there and
No,
take
and
some lessons with him.
No, I like it too. No,
Yeah.
George is very smart. Like he is one of the best instructors on the planet. He absolutely is, and I'd attest to that. He really is. It's just sometimes it's hard to digest by the average person.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
He's like an upper level knowledge person.
That's what I was going to say. I also think it depends on how much of an archery nerd you are. Like
Yeah.
if you're a real archery nerd, I think you can hang.
If you have a YouTube channel and feel the ability to communicate what's going on about your stuff, right? Then yeah, you're that level and you step up and take lessons from George.
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
All right, you got anything else about the Mathews?
No, I'm pretty sure that covers everything for
Dude,
this year.
that's epic.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. Good stuff. So new women's bows.
Short draw length bows.
Okay,
which
we're
is
not
what they
gonna
should
call
be
them women's
called.
bows?
Short draw length bows, not ladies' bows. New
Okay.
long draw length bow too,
Okay.
and completely new tuning system on every bow. 2 completely new target bows. All the target bows are changed though, but much like the Lift 33 and 29.5, the Title 36 and 38, one small change in the tuning system.
Yeah.
Everything else the same from the year before.
And then UltraView Mathews exclusive site,
Yes,
$1 million.
$700.
And then new grip.
Just
that
your
you-
firstborn child.
Yeah, exactly. And then a new grip system that you can buy.
Yes.
Excellent.
Matthews finally addressed the complainy grip that everybody complains about.
I get it.
Yeah.
All right. If you don't got anything else, I've had to pee for 15 minutes, which is why I keep trying to end this. I wish we didn't waste time talking about PSE halfway through this thing.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, dude, thank you for coming to Nashville.
Yeah, buddy. We'll have to do it again soon. It was a good time. I like it down here.
Agreed. You're welcome to come back anytime you want to.
Absolutely. Oh, I will.
Good. Thanks for watching. I'm Brandon McDonald. Josh Jones, MFJJ, right there.
Peace out, folks.